You talk golden to me.
It's my dream to have a golden beard.
Younger but looks older.
I'll even try a squat. Here we go.
Talk golden to me.
The 6 of clubs.
The golden.
Welcome to another episode of the Talk Golden to Me video podcast show. Your host, Evan Golden, a.k.a. Golden TV, as always, here at the studios at the Berman Law Group. Thank you for joining us. If you are viewing or listening, we, of course, appreciate your time, but get ready to get enlightened. Get ready for your energy, your aura, your whole body and soul to be transformed into something miraculous. How's that so far for an intro for our guest, Sarah Gaines, in the studio right here? Sarah, thank you so much for joining the show. I heard that we're going to learn about mindfulness and self-love and awareness and confidence, just overall health, mind, body, and spirit. So I think everybody as a human is trying to achieve that, and I think it probably feels good to have that. And I heard that you were kind of the connoisseur and the guru to implementing this into your lifestyle. So I can't wait to talk to you and learn all about this stuff. And our viewers and listeners, I think, are going to be very intrigued. So Sarah Gaines here in studio. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Come on. You know, I told you how stoked and excited I was for you. So I don't what are you? What is your title? Are you like a doctor? Are you a human therapist? What are you? Who are you?
I am not a doctor. I am not a human therapist. I'm a lot of things, as we all are. And I really, really dislike that question because it really depends on who I'm talking to is how I like to define who I am, because based on the day, I do a lot of different things. Overall, I help people build the life they crave through fitness, mindfulness, and community.
I love that tagline there, build the life that you crave. What do you think people are craving when it comes to building the life they crave?
I think people are craving not having to do what they think that they have to do. I think that we do a lot of the things that we think that we just should, and we kind of get on autopilot because that's what we've been told that we should do. That's what people want us to do. That's what we think other people want us to do. And so we kind of then start to squash all the things that we actually want to do. And then we end up living these lives that are maybe a little less fulfilling than they could be or joyful and all those kind of things.
So you're helping other people.
Yes.
Let's go back in time.
Sure.
I want to understand how this was created, why it was created. Did something personally happen to you in your life and you're like, oh my God, I need to make a major change and a whole new perspective, and you did it, it worked, and now you're passing that gift on to other people? Am I even close?
Well, kind of, but it was more of an evolution. Started really first with just fitness. So when I was in college, well, I guess even backtracking to when I'm 8 years old, I was 8 the first time I ever dieted. And then from 8 to college, I did every kind of diet under the sun, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, crazy soup diets, all these kinds of things. Nothing worked. And then when I was going into my sophomore year of college, I started working with a trainer in the bodybuilding industry and got really, really hyped on that kind of fitness. And so ended up losing a ton of weight and became, as fit as I had ever been, had the body that I always wanted, all these kinds of things. But it really, really fucked with my head mentally. And then I'd become obsessed with fitness and sticking to my diet and making it to the gym. And it really became my life. And so simultaneously, as I started to realize that and start to pull myself out, I also always had friends asking me for tips in the gym and recipes and things like that. And so I decided to start a blog called Fit University, and it was all about just living healthy in college. And with that was fitness, it was nutrition, but it was also mental health and just enjoyment of life. And it was just me sharing my struggles and how I was working through it and sort of my own lessons. And that's really what I've realized has been what I've done and have continued to do, and it's just evolved. It started with fitness, then it was body image and self-love and confidence, and then that kind of just, steamrolled into this greater picture of, okay, well, what are my thoughts? What am I doing? Mm-hmm. And just kind of listening to that inner voice and going with it. And actually something, too, that I've realized more recently is I think what even catapulted me further into this aspect of pushing people to listen to what's going on deep down is I was in a relationship for almost 4 years that I knew from the get-go was not the right relationship. And from day one, I had that voice that said, this isn't it, but I so badly wanted it to be it that I was just like, no, like it'll go away. And then once I got out of that relationship, finally, however many years later, that's when everything else kind of really took off, and just the joy and the greatness that my life is, I think really is a testament to finally now just listening to that inner voice, and that's what I do constantly now.
You know, saying what you mentioned earlier with going to college, everyone makes that joke about the freshman, 15. Obviously, you're on your own for your first time, typically.
Totally.
You're cooking your own meals, staying up late, eating at crazy times.
Drinking a ton.
That's kind of a great niche area, because I think that so many, that's just women, that's men too, so
absolutely.
boys and girls. So that's definitely a major need for a lot of people when they talk about, going to college and talking about health and fitness. But you mentioned mental health, and that's something that doesn't get talked about enough with I think all areas of just lifestyle.
Yeah.
What is your kind of concentration on that?
I mean, I have no education or specialty in anything of that nature. My mom, though, is a licensed clinical social worker, has her own psychotherapy practice.
It's in your blood, huh?
It is in my blood. Yes, she made me this way. And so, I mean, my thing has always been from the get-go. When I started Fit University, the tagline was, in order to be completely fit, we need to be physically fit and mentally fit as well. So that's, whether it's something where you need to go see a therapist or be on medication if need be or anything, but just not ignoring the fact that mental health is just as important. I was actually just talking to my mom about this last night. The phrase mental illness, if you break down those two words, mental is just head, your mental state, and then illness is just being sick, and we don't put the same weight nearly on. You say, yeah, I'm physically ill right now, I'd be like, all right, cool. But if you were to say I'm mentally ill, there's so much more weight behind that, and I think if we can just kind of squash that connotation and just recognize we all go through this kind of stuff. It's just about asking for help and providing support to people you love.
When you achieved physical perfection, as you kind of when you alluded to, you weren't happy?
It wasn't that I wasn't happy, but my life revolved around eating my 5 meals a day, getting in my cardio in the morning and weights in the afternoon, having my cheat meals on Saturday night. You. Yeah. And then, I would become obsessed if I missed something or wasn't going to be able to make it. It was completely my life.
So what's your advice for, I guess, I don't know if the word moderation is right, or incorporating a healthy lifestyle? What are some of the tips, tricks, goals, or strategies, or mental mind state to implement so you don't go overboard?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind, which was incredibly helpful for me, was meditation and just starting to move through food mindfully. Mindful eating is a really, really big component that helped me push through. So kind of just taking a moment to stop and to breathe before diving into any kind of food, and just like acknowledging it, as silly as that might sound, of like, all right, let's say I have a sweet potato on my plate. I'm going to eat this sweet potato. It looks orange. It is soft. And then actually like putting it in your mouth and letting yourself eat it slowly, and just recognizing what that food is doing for you. And so meditation, I think, can really help with that mindfulness piece. Practicing meditation and breath work, and being able to sort of just step into that present state. Affirmations is also a really big thing that helped me. So this is more so pushing into the body image kind of things, if people are struggling with body image. But an affirmation, for people who might not know, it's an I am statement that's actually going to help to rewire your thoughts in your brain about yourself. So you had said before we got on the podcast, you said words are air. And I came back and I said words are energy. And because every time that we speak, every single thing that we say, if we're aware of it or not, we are re-solidifying that thought into our mind as truth. So if you say today's going to be a shitty day, well, yeah, today's probably going to be a shitty day. If you say I am fat, that is a belief that you're telling yourself. Not going to get into the truth of what that might be, whatever, medically speaking, but if you are trying to get to a place of self-love or anything like that, stating something like, I am beautiful. And if you write that down and if you state it aloud to yourself 5 times every day, it might feel really stupid at first. But over time, it's actually going to start to rewire your thought process.
It's good stuff. I like that a lot, and it makes sense. You sure you're not a doctor? You know, I think a lot of people like eating habits.
Yeah.
People eat when they're bored.
Mm-hmm.
You eat usually when you're not hungry. You mentioned something about kind of just slowing down. You know, we're a microwave society. Everyone's like on the go and fast paced. And I think you make it, you eat it, and it's done, and your brain doesn't even know what you ate, and it can't even probably acknowledge that you're full. So I think when you talk about, you know, I don't know if the word appreciating your food and
absolutely.
and acknowledging and slowing down and thinking what you're consuming and what you're putting in your body. I mean, I love the people that are like, you know, you just eat to live, and you know, food is like kind of like your fuel.
Yeah.
And you kind of look at it from that mentality. But I think when you talk about slowing down, I think that could work. I think that could have a lot of benefits.
Absolutely. And I mean, you could look at it at food, but then you could also zoom out and look at it at your entire life. I mean, how much of your day are you just going and going and going and not taking a moment to stop and smell the roses, which is, again, like another thing that is stupid, but actually, like, these things exist for us to enjoy, but we're too busy just trying to rush through it that we're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Talking about like body image and self-love, you're all over Instagram. You have a great following, a lot of followers, and you post a lot. Is it hard now? I mean, people. I think a lot of women, even male, you try to achieve an unrealistic body sometimes. You see the Victoria's Secret models, you see the runway models. Certainly down here in South Florida, I mean, you see what goes on here, and the body images, and everyone's using filters now. You don't know what's real, what's not. What's kind of your take right now on trying to post the most perfect picture, and everyone's fighting for likes and comments, and you post something, you delete it right away because it's like, oh, this is not getting enough attention. I think there's like social media is so scary right now, and people have like a fear of actually appreciating and enjoying and sharing memories with friends or family because of the negative comments and the reactions that people are getting. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think to the point about social media, it can be negative in those aspects, but I think it can also be really positive in terms of connection or sharing a message or finding people who are stating the kind of messages that you want to hear. And to your point about the negative comments, so one thing that I'll share, which I think can speak a lot to this, is maybe 2 years ago, October 2016, would that be 2 years ago? Yeah. Maybe 17. No, October 2017. Math. See, this is when I'm not a doctor, is with math. I led a live workout on USA Today's Facebook page. And so, you know, over 8 million likes on their Facebook page. It was a 20-minute workout, body weight workout you could do anywhere. I had 2 Fit University ambassadors, so college students with me doing the workout. And in the middle of that workout, I started to see some comments come in because, you know, it's live. And I didn't see what the comments were specifically, but I saw people starting to defend me. And I was like, what's going on here? For my first instinct, I thought it was people making sexualized comments because for me, I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably going to happen because it's the internet. But, you know, I saw it and continued on. And then afterwards, I read through the comments, and it was a few people. It was like 4 or 5 making comments about my body and saying the instructor's fat, she's thick, she should be doing the workout with them, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, I just responded with from a place of, you know, like, well, thanks for your opinion. Today's my rest day. Because for someone to see me who's like, when I teach fitness, like, I'm laughing, I'm dancing, like, I'm super positive and motivating, I think. And so for somebody else to be like sitting behind the screen and just commenting about them, like, what is that really saying about them? They're clearly coming from a place of hurt. And so that's always just the lens that I try to work through and think through, is that if people are commenting negatively, that's their own shit that they're dealing with. And so for me, that's one thing. And then when it comes to posting perfect pictures or not posting perfect pictures, I don't do that because that's not reality. Reality is that we sometimes look one way, we sometimes look another. It's as simple as an angle shift or a lighting shift. In fact, I'll intentionally post unflattering photos sometimes to be like, yo, I know this is social media, but we are not this perfect image. And I think if more of us can just start doing that, we start to like crack that wall of this perfection that social media has built up. And I think that's what needs to happen. Social media is so new and it blew up so quickly. And so now I think we have the responsibility to shift how we use it, or else like we will all suffer as a society, because that's where we are living now so much of our time on.
I think that you're kind of an anomaly, because most women are not posting their flaws. You know, they're filtering and face tuning and trying to, you know, have this image that doesn't really exist. And you use the word reality.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, being real, being authentic is what has got you so many followers. So if you're not following her on Instagram, let's plug that now, by the way. Sarah J. Gaines, that's Sarah with an H.
I was about to say that.
I got it,
It's
girl.
important.
I
Thank
got
you.
it, girl. Definitely follow her on Instagram. So really great golden nuggets is what I like to call them. That's what
Love
you're
that.
really sharing with a lot of our viewers and listeners. And what is really exciting is that it's not just something that you guys could learn through social media. Is Sarah is putting on a retreat in 2020 where you could actually go to a fabulous destination, which I'm looking at booking right now when I just found out it's in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
So tell me about this retreat. I
Yeah.
hear it's called Ignite 2020. What is going down? How can you get involved? This sounds very exciting.
Yeah, so Ignite is a New Year's retreat that I started with two really, really great friends of mine who run a company called Startup Island. And that is they do retreats for entrepreneurial minded people. And so we started last year with Ignite 2019, really to give people a way to reflect back on the year and sort of like set sights on the year ahead, set intentions, set goals, but in a really amazing destination with daily yoga, daily fitness, workshops, discussions, adventures. We do a cultural exchange. And last year we started it on January 1st, and it went through through the week, excuse me. But this year we're starting it before the end of the year. So we actually celebrate New Year's in the DR and then have our last 3 days. And so with this, especially too, like we're closing out the fucking decade, which is crazy. So looking back at the decade and like maybe what you've learned and who you've become, and then looking forward into the next decade and who do you want to be and what do you want to solidify into your life. And these retreats, the days are so long. The best way to describe it is that it's 6 days and it feels like a day has gone by, yet 5 years have gone by all at the same time. And, you know, we keep it small. We have 15, 18 people max. So you leave truly with this sense of like family and community that always has your back no matter what. And it's really just a space to come and like explore yourself and share some things that maybe you've never really shared with someone. Like I think we all have these ideas or passions that we're kind of embarrassed to talk about. And I mean, I think over half of the battle of making those things a reality is just saying it for the first time.
Is it easier because you're going to be kind of maybe with strangers, so you can kind of maybe open up more, or just kind of the setting, or you teach them to kind of release and let it out?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. I think it's easier because you're with people that you don't know, and it's people who all are there for the same exact reason, as opposed to like if you're with your friends who you hang out with every single weekend who, you know, are set in, you know, your ways of all hanging out as a friend group. It's super vulnerable to be like, hey, I have this idea, or like, I think I want to start doing this, even though everybody might actually be thinking kind of the same thing.
I'm scared to like talk about any type of like gender or anything, but I think men have a hard time opening up
Sure.
and expressing a lot more than women.
Absolutely.
What advice do you have for the male viewers and listeners where we could start having more confidence to open up and share those kind of thoughts or feelings?
I'd say find one person that you'd feel comfortable sharing it with first. And if you don't know anybody, you can come to me. But it really, you know, start small. Like you don't need to shout anything from the rooftops. Find one person that, you know will support you. And that might be your mom or, you know, a family member or not, or like maybe somebody random that you know. I think something else maybe on that point is that if you know somebody in like a fourth circle of friends, you know, or like your fourth network that is doing something that seems like they'd give you a space to kind of talk about, reach out to them, because they're oftentimes like they'll be excited to listen. So find one person to talk to.
That's great advice.
Yeah, that'd be my first bit of
I like
advice.
that. This sounds really fascinating. I think that it's an opportunity to create, and I don't want to use the wrong words, pure balance in your life.
Yeah.
This is awesome. So go right to her website or go right to her Instagram, Sarah J. Gaines with the H and Sarah, and then you could click the link right in her bio, and that will bring you to the retreat. This sounds pretty fabulous when you talk about everything that's going to be going on in an amazing destination with a group of people that are all looking just to be better human beings inside
Absolutely.
and out.
To the point, too, also just about the men in particular. I mean, the two people that I collaborate with this retreat on are both guys. So there's in that community, because once you come on Ignite, you are then a part of the larger Startup Island community. And there's a lot of guys in that community. And I think it's like once you start to find one guy who's into it, it's like you guys start to ripple and you find more.
I think what's cool also with the retreat that it's not just for personal development, but professional development.
Absolutely,
so if you're looking to, get your mind right for the new year for business related goals and obviously work. So take advantage of this retreat. It sounds very, very incredible and something you don't want to miss.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we have a few spots left. So
it's limited capacity.
Yeah,
so
we'd love to
now.
get some Florida peeps or anybody else. Who's
Great workshops. So obviously you're going to the Dominican Republic. They got food. Everything's kind of included with excursions and
a massage.
That's it.
It's my favorite part.
That's awesome. So very cool. And I think it's so important. I think now more than ever, like I said, we're quick fix America. Everyone's on the go. And it's very easy to neglect yourself, not just physically, but mentally and health. And I think goals are so important.
Yeah.
I think also you might want to talk on this is I don't know, realistic goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. Are you writing down goals like on the daily, on the reg?
Me personally? So, I set less specific goals and I set more intentions. And the way that I kind of differentiate the two is I think of goals as very quantitative, where intentions are way more qualitative. So I think the way that you could start it is think of an intention first. Like, what is the qualitative that you want to be aiming for? So that could be something broad, or I want to travel more, or I want to live life more adventurously, or anything like that. So start broad, and then you start to narrow down. I've gone a long time the past few years without setting like hard goals and really just setting more broad intentions. And the stuff that has come in has been beyond anything that I could ever even imagine. Like goals that I would not, if I would have set, I wouldn't have even known how to start getting there, but because it was just more general intentions, somehow these incredible things have ended up.
I think that's good advice. So maybe viewers and listeners, not let's shoot for goals, but let's shoot for intentions.
Yeah.
Intend to do it, because sometimes goals could sometimes be a negative if they're too hard or you don't achieve it.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect.
I also think too, like around the new year, there's so much pressure, right? Resolutions, set goals, all these things, and so. Are we just setting goals to set goals? It goes back to, like the awareness piece and building the life you crave. Like, why are you doing the things that you're doing?
Build the life you crave. I'm learning all these tips. I crave a good life. I think everybody does.
Yeah. But so what is a good life to you?
Happiness. What it is to me is everything, in my opinion, money can't buy, which is love, peace, health, and happiness.
Yeah.
So money paper can't provide that.
Absolutely. Actually, the Build the Life You Crave workshop that I do on Ignite, exactly what you just said. So I started off with questions, and I say, what does a peaceful life look like to you? A healthy life, a successful life, a fulfilling life, and we go in, like, you answer all these questions, and then from that we pull out, okay, what are like some actionable things that I could do in the next month, 6 months, year. So it's, again, like starting broad and then working specific.
Want to play a fun game?
Sure.
All right, you do want to play a fun game.
I love games.
You love games.
Yep.
We play this game with the majority of our guests, and it's called Word for Word.
Okay.
I'm going to say a word, maybe someone's name, maybe an object, and all you have to do is say the first word that comes to your mind when I say it.
I'm into it.
Pretty easy, right?
Sure.
All right, this is word for word. I think that you understand the rules.
I understand.
I say a word, you say the first word that comes to your mind. Only rule is you have to be brutally honest.
Okay.
Okay. All our winners will get a prize.
Oh.
So
winners?
Yes. You could fail this. You could pass.
Is it like me against you?
Or
it's just me against me?
It's you against you.
Okay.
You got it.
What a metaphor.
All right, so let's get ready for Word with Sarah Gaines. Producer, give me that background game music that I love. Gets the guests kind of brain flowing and moving. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There we go. Here we go. Say the first word that comes to your mind. Here we go. Are you ready, Sarah?
Yes.
Water.
Sea. That was weird. My mind like literally went blank.
It happens. Parkland.
House.
Elephant.
Rhino.
Awareness.
Mind.
Ignite.
Life.
Sand.
Beach.
Sushi.
Teeth.
Energy.
Love.
The sun.
The moon.
Instagram.
Followers.
Boston.
House.
And that was word for word. Congratulations. You got 100%.
Hey!
I want to go
What
back
did
to
I win?
sushi and teeth. Did you have like a bad experience when
No.
you had sushi and it was
Not
like
at
stuck in your
all.
teeth at a date?
I think I was looking at your teeth when I said it, which is really what happened. I just had sushi a few days ago.
Oh, have you ever had gold? Speaking of sushi, is this
No.
part of a fit lifestyle?
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, when you eat a little piece of this gold, your life will change
Oh, is
forever.
is it the edible gold?
It is edible gold. I'm not feeding you like real
Wow.
gold here. Go ahead and take
So
that little
many minerals.
piece. I'm gonna eat one with you. So we'll
Should
do a
we
little
cheers?
cheers, of course.
Cheers, thank you.
There it is. Sarah Gaines and Golden TV eating real gold
Ooh,
on the Talk Golden to Me video
Wow.
podcast show.
I feel
Oh my God,
enlivened.
your skin is already glowing more. Look at that. Just take a breath, doesn't it? You see?
I feel great.
Breathe better.
Was that like laced with something?
Just energy of love, golden aura of passion. They call me the golden child of love.
I love
I
that.
don't know what that means, though.
It's good though.
They call me it. Sarah Gaines, I think that I want to tell you something right now, and I want to know your reaction to it.
Okay.
You're a role model to a lot of people. What does that mean to you?
I appreciate that for one thing.
I think you are a role model because what you're doing online, there's so many young women out there that are struggling
Yeah. Yeah.
with their body image, and they're getting shamed, and they have no self-love, and their confidence at an all-time low, and
Yeah.
their friends getting 100 likes and they're getting 0 likes, and you're showing them that it doesn't really matter, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And people and your followers are following in your footsteps, and they're starting to share and post things without makeup on, or maybe they're not most flattering angle.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been kind of a leader in this movement of a time where people are kind of looking for perfection. So I just wanted to let you know, if you haven't been told, you're a role model.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I very much appreciate that. I mean, life is too short, and there's too much goodness to be had and joy to be felt for anything else. So,
Absolutely. Any other golden nuggets of wisdom that you could share with our guests, our viewers, about living life right? We crave this information on this show. Some advice that you've learned through your retreats, through your own self, through your parents. What has Mrs. Gaines, what can you share with us?
I would say start really listening to yourself. If you have a thought or a gut feeling, stop turning that away. It's information, and it's there for a reason, and really, really start to dissect that.
Do you mean to like trust your instinct more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that. Trust your instinct. It's an instinct. That is, like naturally dates back. That's how they survived back in the day, on instinct and that feeling of fear or not fear. So another one that I love, which came out of my first retreat from Amanda Abbott, who was somebody who came on, was if you're scared, it means you should probably do it. That's another one.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Someone shared something like that for me where I was doing a big show and I was hosting it, and I said, I'm nervous. And
Yeah.
they said, that's great. It means you care.
Right.
Now use that, nervous energy,
Yeah.
and turn it into a positive where it kind of, just by saying it's because you care, kind of like, I do care.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And so that's another great one, is just any negative thought that you have, when you catch yourself in a negative thought, stop and think, okay, how can I reframe this to the positive? Even again, if you don't believe it at first, it doesn't matter. Just start to reframe it, because our words dictate our thoughts, which dictate our life. So start thinking things positively.
You don't want me to say words or just air anymore, do you?
No, it's just not true.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show today.
I appreciate you having me.
I definitely want to look into this retreat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to this one, but I want to plug it to our viewers and listeners,
Please
because there's
do.
still time to experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and personal development, self-love, confidence, awareness, mindful. I mean, these are these are adjectives and feelings and ways of life that as a human race, we need to be instilling more and more and more. I always say it's cool to be kind. And I just want more of that.
1,000%. In high school, I created not a campaign, but I came up with the phrase "It's nice to be nice," which I don't think I came up with, but I started saying it a lot. And
it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's nice to be nice. We appreciate you spending some time with us on the show. Viewers and listeners, make sure you hop on Sarah J's Instagram, Sarah with an H, J Gaines, Gaines. Follow her and then look into this retreat. She got a lot more coming in the future as well with Ignite. So very cool opportunities. And you are just someone that is just sharing the right way to live life and to be a human stress-free. A lot of the stress I feel that we're creating on ourselves could be eliminated.
Totally. And I will also just say, stress-free, I think, is, I don't want to pitch that as me always, because I think that's unrealistic. But looking at stress from a different lens and being like, all right, Sarah, I see you, I am not you, and I'm going to use you to get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you again, certainly in the future. This was delightful. This was insightful, and I appreciate your time very much. Viewers and listeners, of course, we always appreciate your time. Subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff with this show. It helps promote Sarah and her mission. I want all our viewers and guests and all your friends to learn about these retreats. If it's not for you, maybe it's for them. So awesome follow on Instagram. And that is it for another episode. Did you have fun? We did it.
I had a great time.
Cool.
Thank you.
Listen, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much.
Sarah J. Gaines on the Talk Golden Me Video Podcast. Thank you again for joining us. As always, our studios are here at the Berman Law Group. Till next time, we're out of here. Peace.
Bye.